Good afternoon, fellow citizens of Ghana. My name is Martin Amidu. I normally do not speak to the public. I prefer to write. But 2024 election year marks a critical period in Ghana's constitutional history. We've had 6 presidents since 7th of January 1993. Our 6th president is about ending his term or tenure of office. The Constitution demands that on 7th December 2024, we as citizens of Ghana go to the polls and exercise our sovereign franchise to determine who shall rule us for the next 4 years, starting 7th January 2025. Throughout our constitutional history, we've changed the number of governments formally almost every 8 years. This is the 8th year of the Nana Akufo-Addo Bawumia presidency. They came to power at the 216th election, promising us as messiahs and redeemers heaven here on earth in our country. Within the 8 years, every Ghanaian of adult age has witnessed that the promises have not been materialized. What we have seen is rather a government of family, friends, and cronies, creating, looting, and sharing our collective national patrimony for the few of them. Our economy has been brought to such a mess that almost each and every one of us who has savings or who even spends money has had a haircut. These angels of ours will not even use clean blades to shave us. They just broke bottles and used the rough edges to give us a shave. Pensioners, disabled people have lost their savings. Price of goods and services have gone high. Amidst all this suffering, we have been told that there's been development. These developments over the years were kept aside until just 2 or 3 months ago. We can see the president and his poodle, his vice president, running around everywhere and commissioning completed, uncompleted, and work in progress as achievements for the government. Meanwhile, the pockets of the ordinary man in the street are empty. We cannot get 3 square meals a day. While we are suffering, the president gallivants in chartered planes abroad. His vice president exhibits incompetence in terms of our human security. And yet, we have been told that during the polls, the most credible person to vote for to continue the mismanagement of the country is the president's vice president, whom he has groomed and cloned to be his poodle. Normally, I should not want to make an intervention at such a stage because every elector ought to use his discretion. But as an elder in this country, I cannot sit down and watch while we citizens are being led astray. These commissions have been purposefully timed to deceive us, to buy us, to diminify our conscience, and as if we have no memory of the past. That is why I wish to appeal to Ghanaians to look back at their conditions of life and decide whether they want to continue the same system of deception, the same system in which families, friends, and cronies will siphon the national patrimony, the same system in which, because of their stomachs, our riverbeds and river bodies will be polluted because of galamsey to enrich themselves and their party minions. Or we need what the Constitution demands from them, that every government must adhere to probity and accountability. Within the 8 years, we have not as citizens had the chance to hold this government to account. The only opportunity for us to hold the government to account is to refuse to renew the 8-year term by voting for the portal of the president, who will then cover up for another 4 years, making it 12 years. That's making it impossible, if there ever was a change of government, for us to be able to trace the looted properties from our national resources. Our purse is literally empty. I don't need to tell you that. Your conditions of existence shows you that. That is why I think it is insulting to us as voters for the government to wait only when it wants our votes. Then it will go around the country commissioning projects, using our resources to take pressmen along, take TV along, as if we don't have common sense. Please, let's demonstrate that we have common sense. The president has only one person whose audit he fears, and it has come from his mouth. He says we should vote for Dr. Amidu Bawumia, who has been his right-hand man throughout the mess he has inflicted in this country, so that he will not be audited. Because if we vote for one of the presidential candidates who was a former president of this country, by virtue of his experience and acumen, he might be able to do a perfect audit. And that will disclose several improprieties. I investigated the Ijapa royalties transactions. It is full of a lot of filth. The special prosecutor promised on oath to Parliament that he will investigate it. He has failed to do it. We need a government that will be able to audit that, investigate it, and let us see whether the great loot and share indeed happened or did not happen. I am grown enough, and I have lived through the politics of this country, not to know that even the candidate of the NDC is not a saint. But we need a government in which the president will have parliamentarians who will be able to help him to rule the country, and therefore be able to conduct an audit of a government which has deceived us for 8 years. That is why, for me, even though I have issues with the NDC presidential candidate, he has been out for 4 years. He has learned his lessons, as far as I can reckon with. He is being feared by the incumbent president because of his ability to find out all the loot and where they are hidden. In such circumstances, pragmatism requires that as electors, we give the chance to the NDC presidential candidate, who can then come and conduct the audit. The MPP presidential candidate, Dr. Bawumia, says that we should give him 4 years so that he will have an 8-year term of office, which means he wants another 8 years to add to the 8 years they are exhausting, so that for 16 years, this country will be looted to the ground and to the bone, and nobody can make an audit. The 1992 Constitution forbids such looting. If we do not change a government now, we are putting the Constitution in danger, because when people cannot change a government at the polls because they suspect that an incumbent president is going to rig the system, then they will resort to self-help. God forbid. I am a constitutionalist, and I believe that this constitution has endured several governments. We can make it endure several more governments by looking at our situation, making sure we could audit the incumbent government so that if they have a chance to come again, whether it's 4 years' time, because Mr. John Dramani Mahama has only 4 years, and so he has this time to show that after all, he is somebody who can lead this country and find out where hidden property is being hidden. So let's give him a chance. I do not think that Bawumia has the competence. His track record of going to Wale to say that if your mother is in the funeral place, you eat every day, is a repetition of his mentor, Nana Akufo-Addo's principle, that when a chief ascends a stool and gets riches and doesn't spend it, he will be called or classified as a fool. This, he said, when he was Minister for Foreign Affairs to a friend. I have the documentation, a document to that effect, which was sent to me when I was special prosecutor, even though I've kept it away outside the country. This is a philosophy of create, loot, and share. I think it is the time for us to have a sober reflection and decide whether we want to audit this government after 8 years service, or we want to entrust our future to them to mismanage again. As I said, the vote is yours. My duty as somebody who has been in public service for several decades in this country is to lay the facts bare before you so that you may make an informed choice on 7th of December 2024. I urge you to defend the Constitution by preserving it and ensuring that we can audit the existing government. I thank you very much. I wish you a good vote. Vote wisely. Take your situation into consideration and vote where your interests, your future, your prosperity lies. I think it will lie in a changed government. I thank you very much.